Okay, boys and girls, the new Alternator 250 amps is here from Tucson Alternator. Just came in off of the FedEx truck. Okay, so let's open this baby up and see what we got. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, bum-ba-bum, ba-da-da-da, bum-ba-bum, bum-ba-bum, bum. Pure power alternators, sweet. Bum, ba-dum. So this is to power the truck camper and everything much more than the stock alternator. Look at that. What a handsome looking alternator. Okay, that is definitely heavier than the old one. So let's take a look here at what we have. Okay, come here, Mr. Alternator. All right. So good. That looks like it will go onto the standard mounts, and then there is the rear mount that goes to the crossover tube, but it does not look like there is a bracket attachment point in back here. Okay, so it has this plug on it that adapts it to the standard Ford Super Duty plug, and then there is one more plug that should be here somewhere. So I will maybe have to call and ask about that. But it's also possible that it doesn't need that connection. Warning: alternator, B+ charge wire and negative ground cables must be upgraded on this alternator. See instructions. They want you to get a battery cable, like a 1/0 battery cable. Now you only need what you need for the load. So I have the standard 4/0 95 amp cable going to one AGM battery in the truck, and then I have a 4 AWG cable going to the 30 amp DC charger in the truck camper. So those are the only two connections that this alternator gets. So it's not going to do more than that. But I will be getting a second 30 amp charger. So it looks like this thing could be putting out at least 60 amps into the truck camper, and easily 100 amps into the truck. Say like you're driving at night, headlights on, windshield wipers on, air conditioning defrost going full, and the radio cranked up. So you can be using quite a bit of power at night in the truck. So and I have had conditions where it was a dark, cold, rainy night. Sounds like a cliche, but we did end up in a condition where the battery was dying on us, and so we pulled over in a rest stop, shut off the lights, the air, and wipers, and then it charged the system up again. So there are certain conditions where the alternator will handle all the load of your vehicle, but then you add a truck camper or a trailer or something else on there, then you probably want to start thinking about getting a more powerful alternator, and that's where this baby comes in. So, okay, yeah. we can take a look at the old one here. So there you see the old alternator, and there is the large plug, and then it has that second wire going to it. And I'm not sure if that is a necessity or not. And then on the back side here, you can see the mount bracket on the crossover tube for the back of the alternator. Okay, well, let me get going on this. It's an easy pull, just the 2 bolts on the bottom of the front of the alternator and the 1 bolt on the back, and I'll probably just remove the bracket altogether from the crossover tube because I got a feeling it might interfere, because it does stick forward a little bit, if you can see it back here. Okay, so that's it. Let's get this alternator done. So here are the 2 alternators. This is the new one, and that's the old one. So if you look at the new one here, you can see it's got much thicker windings in it, and up here, and then it also has a bunch of heat sinks and transistor MOSFETs going on back here, so it's much more ruggedly designed, made to make power. And up here you can see that the windings are smaller and not as numerous. So there you go. Windings on the new alternator, windings on the old alternator, and you can see the casting is much heavier. It's made to get more stuff in there. It's fatter forward. Hopefully it'll line up. It looks like it lines up okay. The other thing is, on the old one, you've got your 3-pin plug, and then you got a pigtail that comes off and plugs into there. And on the new alternator, that wire's clipped off. You do not use it, but leave that pigtail on the truck harness in case you have to switch back to a standard alternator. So this one here, just 2-wire connection, and then you got your big lug here for power, and this lug here is much heavier looking than that one. Hopefully it's the same thread size. It looks like it takes larger connectors, so I might have to make new connectors for the car, or for the truck and camper. So we'll see. Anyway, there you go. It's bigger. Okay, so let's go get that puppy on there. And it just takes the 2 bolts down here, right here. I'm tripping over the old springs. So you see the bolts are slotted, they just drop onto the bolt, whereas these here you had to stick the bolt through. And there's a forward-facing look. About the same diameter. So it fits right in. It's just a little deeper, and you do not use the rear mount for the alternator. That's gone now. Okay, let's go put that thing in. Okay, so we are going to put the new alternator in. So let us put the bolts back in place. The alternator just drops in over the bolts with slotted holes, so that is going to be easier. But I think I may have to put larger connectors on the wires because the post on the alternator appears to be larger. I will know in just a minute. Oh, come on, get in there. All right, I guess that's as far as that one's going to go. All right, let me grab the alternator. Okay. So it's got the slots on the bottom here that just drop over the bolts. So let's put that on. Yeah, that was easy. Okay, there goes the camera. Okay. Okay, well, good, that's handy. So I do have to put new ends on the wires. What about this one? Does that need it too? Yep, they both need it. All right, let us go do that. Plus, I should upgrade this wire here to a larger wire. All right, so I guess that's all you need to see. It does have this one plug here, which plugs into the pigtail on the back of the alternator. And this here you do not use. You see they have it clipped off of their pigtail here, but they say to leave it in place because if you do ever want to switch back to a stock alternator, you'll need the plug. Okay, so there you go. I'm just gonna tighten this in place and then put on new terminal ends. Okay. Okay, so I had to grind off the boss for the bolt there because the back of the alternator was hitting it and causing it to lean forward a little bit and possibly twist to the right. So I took the angle grinder and ground that down, probably up to about, might be even 1/4 of an inch at the most. But, so anyway, that gives me clearance. And it's okay to do that as long as you're on this side of the threads. You don't want to go into the crossover area, but if you're on the threads, no big deal. All right. And let me drop the alternator down in there and I'll show you real quick. Okay. Let me get this baby tightened in here. see that it's not touching the crossover tube anymore. Okay. Yeah, we got about a 1/16 of an inch of clearance, which that should be good. Yeah. Let's see what kind of stress motion this takes. Oh, yeah. If I push on this thing, it doesn't move at all. Alright. So there you go. Gotta grind off a little bit of the boss on the back there, up to maybe 1/4 of an inch, and then you'll be done. You have to remove the rear mount bracket for the stock alternator because the new one just doesn't take it, and leave the bolts in place because you may need that. Leave the bracket connected to your old alternator or put it in storage where you can find it. Alright. I put this anti-squeak crap on the belt, and it's making noise like crazy. So I'm going to have to get like a full belt, scrub it and the pulleys off with degreaser, soap and water, and get it clean. But there you go, new alternator is working. Right now it's putting out 14.87 volts. Idle is probably a little bit high, and the battery is charging. So that's a good charge. Okay, now we are going to put in the Y-pipe conversion. And it goes in like that. It's going to eliminate, see that 180-degree turn up there. So it's going to eliminate that. And then just take note of what the exhaust sounds like right now. Nothing but water, steam. Very, very clean running truck now. It sounds good. So that's it. I'm very happy with how it turned out. There is a definite change in performance when you get rid of that 180 and put on this Y. Alright, let me show you the engine compartment now. Okay, so I also painted my bumper and grill. That is metallic stainless. And I still have to paint the headlight bezel on both sides. That's the old color, that's the new color. I think the new color is way better looking. Okay, so there is my pure power alternator, 250 amps. So that's going to be quite a nice thing for the truck camper. That'll give us all the power we need. And hang on, let me pause this for a second. I gotta clean the lens. Alright, much better. So see the big manifold, no signs of leakage with the front of the crossover tube. Remember, the back of the crossover tube has the back of the heads. I welded the coolant passages shut, so those will never leak again. back here, you can see the close for the rear coolant adapter on the back of the head, which will let coolant, it gets rid of the hot spots in the head. I've got these heavy-duty red industrial hoses for all the heater stuff. Off the intake manifold is 3/4, this is 5/8. So I have this pressure gauge here. You can see the pressure sitting right around almost 5. And when you get going, you can see that your water pressure goes up to 20 at about 3,000 RPM. And so that's why I've got the heavy hoses, and then also why I put so much work into sealing the crossover tube in the front and rear. And if you want to learn more about that, I've got videos already up for that explain the whole process. You just have to watch and learn. Back there you see the other red hose going to the crossover adapter on the back of the left head. Same thing on the right head. They meet in the middle and they come forward to where that air is. And what happens there is you have the water coming from the heater core. This pumps to the heater core, this returns from the heater core, and that tube goes to the return tube to the water pump. And the water pump is right there under the fan pulley. And so the coolant adapters on the back of the head, they come up from the other side and connect to the T there. And those are being drawn into the water pump too. So we have lots of coolant moving through the heads and all through the engine. And what else we got? So we got the new high volume Melling 176A HV oil pump, the Melling timing chain, tensioners and chain guides, the Gibson Headers, the 3.5-inch cold air inlet, adapted to the factory stock manifold. And what else we got? I think that's probably pretty much it. And of course, here are the rear 6+1 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the one on the bottom. Then I have the Firestone airbags. And that is a Napa. It's supposed to be a stainless steel muffler, but it sure isn't looking like it's stainless. Rancher 9000 shock absorbers. And these are the front springs. You see the 3-leaf 2,950 pound rated. The rear ones are 4,400 pound rated. And then again, Rancho 9000 up front. I've got the big sway bar. They got a big rear sway bar too. Sway bars make this thing handle really well for a truck. I still have to install my ditch lights. Those are really good for when you're going down forest roads and you want to see what's to the right of you or to the left of you that is in the dark because your headlights don't shine over that way. There's those headers. So I am really looking forward to getting the camper loaded on and taking a trip and seeing how this thing runs with the camper and what kind of monitor we get. There's the left one. Ranchos. And that. And the header. Yeah, this engine sounds just great. Look how smooth that thing is. No vibration, nothing. Just a smooth purr. All right.